yourself and Darby, Chris Dickinson, all these guys. Now, they're bringing people to Evolve. Who do you yourself, who do you want to come to Evolve, and who do you want to wrestle from NXT in the future?
Man, that's such a great question. Like, so many of my buddies are in Evolve, and I'd love to have them back and have a match. Like, Dijak, I had matches with Dijak when I was just so not good, Like, I've evolved so much. So if I could get Dijak back, that would be like a big one for me. Oni Lorcan, who, is Biff Busick, like, just another guy who I've never got to wrestle, who I still watch to this day, who's just so good.
Biff is great. He's so underrated. I love watching that dude wrestle.
He's the best. I mean, like, me being a Beyond guy, Beyond is my home, and Biff built Beyond. Biff and Dijak built Beyond, and I want to do what they did for Beyond Wrestling for forever. So, like, they're both so special to me and so special to the Beyond family, and like, that's a big thing that, like, I'd love to have both of them. And Biff's partner, Danny Burch, who's Martin Stone on the Indies. I mean, me and Martin have had we've only had one match, and it was at Beyond Wrestling, but I mean, that was up there for one of my favorite matches I've ever had. And he's another guy that doesn't get enough credit for his singles stuff. And man, he's a bad dude. And, I mean, realistically, that NXT roster is insane. I'd love to wrestle anyone. I'd love to get Riddle back and wrestle him again, Keith again. So many of the guys who came from Beyond and from Evolve, that would be so special to get the Evolve guys back at Evolve,
Well, with WrestleMania weekend coming up and it being right in everybody's backyard here in New York, I think you might see a lot of interesting matchups that weekend for Evolve and for NXT, so we can all keep our fingers crossed. Other big news this week before we let you go, AEW, All Elite Wrestling, the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes venture into the professional wrestling organization, I guess, business. What is your take on that? And as somebody who's, you can kind of work wherever you want to work right now, is that something that you kind of look at? And of course, you're with Evolve, and they have that relationship with the WWE and with NXT. But seeing AEW and seeing how it's offering, is such a different product. And I mean, I love professional wrestling and I love wrestling fans, but some of them on the internet are just like the worst, where it's like, you have to be this or you have to be this. You can't be in between. I think right now it's probably one of the greatest times ever to be a fan, and especially a professional wrestler like yourself, because there's so many options and there's so many ways to make money.
Yeah, man, wrestling is so cool right now. It's a shame that for some reason a lot of wrestling fans think that there's a war between companies, and you can't like Brian Cage if you like Kenny Omega, or if you like Seth Rollins. You can like anyone. The world is your oyster. You can watch as much wrestling as you physically can until you die. No one will hate you for it, So just enjoy wrestling. That is, if you can take one thing away from this conversation, it is just watch wrestling, watch good wrestling, watch bad wrestling, watch women's wrestling, watch deathmatch wrestling, watch tag team wrestling, watch all of it, and support all these wrestlers who are killing themselves just to make everyone happy. But I mean, back to AEW, dude, it's cool. Like, it is like, I can't think of another word for it other than just cool. I mean, my one of my best friends in the world, Max, MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, he signed a contract with them, and I've known for a little while, and I've been very, very happy for him. And it's awesome. Cody Rhodes is a dude. I mean, I don't really know him from a hole in the wall, but what he's done for professional wrestling is very admirable. And I mean, when he first started his independent career, it was one of the just such an admirable thing. I mean, he was on shows where he didn't have to go balls to the wall, but he did, and put the dudes over that he didn't have to put over. And I will respect Cody to the day I die just for that. But I mean, I saw that two of the coolest things about AEW, they're paying women properly and they're paying them equal to the men, which I mean is such a big step in not just pro wrestling, but the world as a whole. Um, and I mean, I hope that like what they're doing takes effect in not just pro wrestling, but the world, like their tagline is they're going to change the world. And like some people are saying that's BS because, it's wrestling. How can you change the world? But there are things that are definitely going to leave a lasting effect on culture, and I think that's one of them. And another really cool thing, I mean, if not the coolest thing, is that anyone who's under contract with them or performs in their rings and they get injured, they will cover all of their medical expenses. And to me, as an independent wrestler, that is, and I'm speaking for every independent wrestler out there, that is just the best, like to have that just stability and to be just so confident that if something bad happens, you will be taken care of, man. Like that alleviates so much stress and so much pressure off of like any independent wrestler's mind. And I respect them for doing that. And like that's such a special thing that they're doing. And like what those guys at AEW are doing, it's really cool. I'm on the opposite side of the fence, and I haven't really talked to any of them. I don't really know any of them other than Max. So I mean, it's two different sides of the fence for me, but I'm very happy that they're in professional wrestling doing something so positive for professional wrestling as a whole. And I hope that more people in pro wrestling take heed of what they're doing, and kind of it lights a fire under a bunch of people, and they also want to get on board with what they're doing. It's awesome.
The other thing I saw that, of course, what you mentioned about the equal pay is great, and the healthcare, especially. I mean, especially for you guys and your families, that's amazing. And as far as the fans go, the one thing that Cody had just said was that wins and losses are going to matter now more than ever before. So I mean, I'm 31, 32 years old, but I love like the old NWA and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of like such an old school mentality. I think that's been missing a lot lately. So I think what they're doing there, it's going to be great. And like you said, if you're a professional wrestling fan and you have the internet, man, you can watch 400 different promotions in an hour. There's so much wrestling out there. There's no reason to be negative about it. Everybody should just be happy, enjoy what you want to enjoy. Don't fight with people. Just be happy, be cool, and appreciate everything that we're being given right now as fans.
Yeah, man. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, like I said, I'm from Arizona, and like I didn't know anyone that liked wrestling. And I mean, if I'd go to school and I'd talk about wrestling, dude, I'd get made fun of. And like, I understand how it is to be a pro wrestling fan. So, we should, as a unit, as a pro wrestling community, we need to like be nicer to each other. You don't need to be mean to people. You don't need to be mean to people ever in real life, except for me, because I don't like people. But like, just enjoy wrestling, man. It's an art, and we're trying to make people happy. And you don't need to hate someone because they're wrestling for a different company. You don't need to hate someone because they're a fan of something different. Just accept that we're all in love with the same thing.
Just exactly appreciate what we have, but always remember, chances are he doesn't like you. Josh, listen, where can everybody see you, talk to you, interact with you, find out what kind of shows you'll be coming up on soon? Where can they find you on social media?
My social media is at the Josh Briggs on Instagram and Twitter. Just go crazy, follow me up. I usually post graphics of what I got going on, and monthly graphics and updates and all that stuff. And I tweet out some very negative things about what I dislike in wrestling. So it's very fun to follow me, I think. You can watch me on Club WWN, $9.99 a month. Support that as much as you can. You can also watch me on Beyond Wrestling's YouTube channel, youtube.com/Beyond Wrestling. Support those two things more than anything else, and like just watch some good wrestling, and hopefully I fall under that good wrestling category.
Absolutely. And where can we pick up those shirts you were talking about earlier?
Oh, I mean, just hit me up on any type of social media, whatamaneuver.com/Josh Briggs, or go to a show and support all of wrestling, and then come talk to me at my merchandise table, and I can tell you I don't like you, and I can offer you a nice shirt. That's probably the best. That's the best option. Everyone wins. You get to watch live wrestling, get a shirt, and I can tell you I hate you.
And be berated. Well, we're looking forward to it next weekend. Evolve 119, Evolve 120. Like you said, Club WWN app. Be sure to check it out. Josh, we thank you for stopping by the All Night Long Wrestling Podcast, my friend, and best of luck next weekend.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much for having me.
Appreciate it, man. Take care.
You too, dude.